I am unbelievably exhausted. I just spent 4 hours trying to get money that I sent to myself via Western Union. I'm going to tell you about some of the issues you're going to have with trying to get money to Panama for whatever purpose it is you need to get money to Panama, and some stuff you need to watch out for. So let's go back to the problem. The problem is in 2016 when the Panama Papers came out, and if you're not familiar with that, has to do with this big scandal with billions of dollars between lawyers and all kind of big man stuff and fraud and money laundering and scandal and scam. Anyway, ever since that, the Panamanian government cracked down on all kind of money transactions. So getting money into Panama is not an easy task. You cannot open a bank account if you do not have residency. So it's not as simple as let me open a bank account and then try and move money in. Not that simple. Western Union is horrifically expensive, like horrendously expensive to move money. And I've had to do it that way once or twice because I had no choice. It was like an emergency. I needed to get that money in. Western Union, what a nightmare. What a nightmare. I guess it depends on how much you're moving. Mine wasn't small, but it certainly wasn't large. And twice now, I moved money from myself to myself, went with my passport, the money transfer number, and both times the transfer was held up by Western Union because of fraud, possible fraud. Yeah, like I'm gonna defraud myself and I'm trying to scam myself out of my own money. And this is what happens when computers replace things that humans should be doing. But that's a whole nother story for another time. So I just spent 4 hours because I went to the Western Union in town and they didn't have enough money. It really wasn't thousands and thousands of dollars, but they didn't have enough money. So we had to go to Paso Canoas, which is about 35-40 minutes away, to go to the Western Union there. Went to the Western Union there, brought my passport, everything. Same thing. And I just went through this process a week ago. Had to call the number. They only spoke Spanish, more than I could understand. Asked for English. They transferred me to Kazakhstan. And from Kazakhstan, they finally transferred me to the US. And I finally got my money released. In the middle of all of that, of course, the young lady went to lunch. Okay, so that's the same exact thing that happened to me a week ago, by the way. So that's the first thing is, when you're walking and coming to Panama, bring what you know you're going to need and then some. Obviously, you can't bring more than $10,000 because that is international law and blah, 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 and you're going to have to declare it. But bring what you know you're going to need for the entire time and then some. Walk with it. Because if you have to move money here, yeah. The other thing was wire transfers. So we're buying property here, and we had to do wire transfers. So we did the wire transfers, and for 4 days straight, because you can only transfer a certain amount online and we were not able to go into the bank, for 4 days straight, my bank, Wells Fargo, blocked my transfers. Okay, so for 4 days straight, I had to call, or they called me, and I had to ask for the transfers to be released, even though they said that there were going to be all kind of notes saying that I was transferring. Finding out, of course, that part of the problem is not from that end, it's from the Panama end, because the money cannot come in without a million questions answered. And our lawyer, who we are sending funds to, could only receive a certain amount in her account at a time. Otherwise, it would be flagged, her account would be blocked, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the bottom line is, moving money into Panama can be tricky. If you are coming, walk with what you know you're going to need for the month, for 2 months, whatever. If you're sending it Western Union or through any money transfer, be prepared to pay a lot of money for transfer fees, like a lot of money. So I transfer money to Jamaica all the time to pay people who do work for me. And I can transfer $300 for $2.99 if I use my debit card, or it comes out of my account. I had to transfer $300 to my lawyer here, and it cost me $70, something like $70. So you understand what I'm talking about. So just be aware of that moving money into this country is not easy. You can't open an account unless you are a resident, and it requires sometimes some very creative ways to get the money in. It depending on which bank it is, you can wire it. It could come on the same day. It could come the next day. It could take as long as 4 days, depending on which bank the receiving bank is. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk about our process to buy our house. Oh my Lord. Murder police. Wait till you hear that, the drama. But I just wanted to tell you that getting money here is difficult. So just be prepared and pack your patience. It's Panama. Pack your patience. Now, there is a caveat to this whole thing about money. Credit cards work perfectly fine in most places. And of course, you can always take money out of the ATM, and your bank will charge you a heck of a lot less than Western Union. You just won't be able to move large sums or to get large sums out at one time. And if your bank is anything like mine, Wells Fargo, you know, you could find your card locked down a few times, or your account you know, locked down a few times, because even though I've called their fraud department a million times, they still think I'm trying to defraud myself. So there you go.